Welcome to a brand new course of belly dancing for beginners with me, Lindsey Marie Silver, here at Little Egypt Studio in Scotland. In this course, we're going to really build on everything that you learned with me in the last session, and together we're going to start to explore what it is to venture into the world of traveling with your belly dancing. Something that's often really missed out at the beginning of a dancer's journey, but something that I find is fundamental to your growth and your expression as a dancer. So I think, why wait? Life is right now. We're going to do that, and also I'm going to show you lots more fabulous, basic beginner's belly dancing movements that you can have lots of fun with, get yourself toned up, feeling super fantastic and gorgeous. Let's dive in. Into that basic stance that by now we are growing more and more familiar with. We're going to spread out through our toes, relax through the feet and ankles, bend through your knees. Tuck the hips under, use your pelvic floor muscles, activate through there just a little, raise through your rib cage. The shoulders come forwards, up, back and down. Slide the shoulder blades down your back, really open through the chest. Deep breath in. Let's bring the chin into alignment. Crown of the head raises slightly to the sky and the tailbone sinks to the ground. This is your basic stance. Now, in the previous course, we went into lots of detail as to the benefits of this alignment, how it should feel. We maybe even covered how it shouldn't feel. And so, I'm just going to work now from the basis. Let's assume that you're now confident and proficient in that basic stance. It doesn't feel entirely odd to you. It's beginning to feel quite natural. And so from there then, let's elevate the hands out towards the side. Let's bring the elbows back. And then we're going to start with a slide. Now you'll find the movements that we're doing in this warm-up, you'll find in our previous Belly Dancing for Beginners course. You'll find that on the playlist on our YouTube channel, on the Little Egypt Studio channel. So if you would like to break the technique of these movements down to their tiniest biomechanics, and then build it upwards and learn about all of the benefits of those movements, you can check that out and then join us back here for everything that we're going to add. All right, so let's make that a little bit faster perhaps. We're going to start to warm through all the muscles of the body, particularly through the hips, the back, waist, your belly, and your chest. Want to try that a little bit faster? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done. And if you've been here with us before in the previous course, you'll know all about a technique known as anchoring. So you can employ some of the anchoring technique as we take that movement now up into the upper half. Now we're going to anchor through the low half. I'm going to slide through the rib cage through center. Here we go. Slide. So here we're warming up even more through the waist. So in terms of what these movements themselves can do for you, they're incredible. They're so good for your digestive system. They're good for your posture and your alignment. They're wonderful for really bringing the muscles of the waist in together. Yes. hands down. Woo! So you're keeping the hips nice and still. You're sliding that rib cage across. So we're spending a bit extra time in this warm-up with the slides because we're going to utilize this slide movement in this session. I'm going to show you a real good fun way that you can dance with that slide whilst also opening out a whole new world of movement in your belly dancing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Always go lightly but sparingly with that head slide. It's not a movement that's for everyone, but it can be really beneficial. Let's bring it back. Side, bring it forwards. Now, if you remember, this movement of the circle is a combination of two movement patterns together. So what you have is that slide motion that we did. You come out to the side and then eventually round to the other side. The other motion that you have is this forwards and back. Hips are neutral, it's parallel with the ground, and you're coming forwards and back, forwards and back. Let's try in formation. So you're going to come out to the side, bring it back, to the side, bring it forwards. And then what you do is you push that out on the edges, and we're also using the work of the, in order to keep the hips nice and level, what are we doing? Can you remember? So you're going to use an extra bend of your knees as your hip comes out over the top of that knee. Nice. Okay. The other way. So what we're going to do here now is just have a little bit of a think in your slide. Let's come back to that slide motion. Okay, before I do that, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be able to travel in your dancing? Would you? Or would you like to stay completely stationary in this one spot for the whole duration of each dance? So one of the things that I found myself whilst I was learning, like a really, really long time ago when I was learning belly dance for the first time, I was building up this whole repertoire of movements, and they were fun, and let's take it up here. They were really good fun, and they were really feel good. There was so much benefit and movement upon movement. That repertoire was growing. It was great. But I was literally stuck to the spot. I didn't have any idea of how to begin to travel with those movements. So what we're going to do is, rather than have you build up this whole repertoire of movements and then be like, hi, way over there, we're going to have you venture into that world of traveling with those movements right now, because why wait? Life is right now. You never, it's not, time is precious, so let's crack on. So, as your hip comes out to the side, so we're going to start off this traveling adventure, this journey, literally, with a really basic movement like the slide of the hip, and we're going to add a traveling step to that. So before we do anything, I want you just to slide your hip out to the right, and just take note of what happens to your weight. Did you find that your weight shifted onto your right side and your left foot is free to move? Hopefully. Woo, I don't know what that is, it felt right. So I want you to now just take that hip over to the other side. Well done, ladies joining me here live, awesome. Just have a little shot lifting through that right leg now and just give it a little swing. All good? All right, place it back down in your basic stance. So knowing that you can shift your right hip over to your right side, and the left foot is free to move. I want you just to try doing that. So we're going to bring the hip out to the side. Bring your hands out to the side for elevation. Now, first of all, before we do any traveling, let me just share with you that whatever is kind of like a tree. So whatever you see on the surface, the equal movement or volume is happening underneath, underground. So let's just say that your belly button, that's the surface level of the soil. You've got all this going on. So if we bring our hands out to the side, it means that we can create all of this movement in the low half. So essentially what you did is you balanced things out. So you can use your hands out to the side to really help create that leverage and to help balance you. So we're here, the hip is out to the right hand side. Just try lift that left foot up and just ever so slightly place it in front of you, just ever so slightly. Maybe just like literally the length of your foot ahead. Okay, then we're gonna gently shift and slide the hip out towards the left side. Yeah? So your weight should hopefully now be heading onto your left side. You can pick up the right foot with the hip still there, and you can bring your foot forward and step. Okay, now, sometimes it's a little bit trickier to do this so slowly, but practicing it really, really slowly makes it such a conscious movement. You're passing this intention through your brain down into your body. Okay, let's try that again. Maybe this time let's try it a little bit faster. See if you find it easier or harder to do a little bit faster. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. This time we're going to step and slide. So you're going to slide, lift your foot, slide, slide. So as your hip comes out to the side, you're going to step with the other foot. So here we go. Let's do that a little bit medium speed. So we did it really slow, we did it really fast. Let's do it in between. So bring your hip out to the side, right hand side with the hip, left foot can come forwards. Well done. So it's a shifting of weight. So it's really, the pressure points are zigzagging across your body. If you were to break it right down into the anatomy of what's happening there. Yay! Well done. So you can travel that forwards, and you can also travel it backwards. So we started there with a slide of the hip, a really, really basic movement. You can, of course, use all kinds of movements and travel with all kinds of movements, and you can even layer movements on top of movements, on top of movements, on top of movements, and travel with those. It gets super, super fun and exciting. So I'll just to ease you into that a little bit gently. Let's talk about traveling within Middle Eastern dance. So there's lots of different styles of traveling steps and ways of moving across any space, whether it's a stage or a restaurant or whatever it might be, or even just for your own creative play. But if we look at each of those, they can pretty much all be broken down into 2 types. So the first type is quite a staccato movement. It's very strong. It's quite a masculine energy. And when I say that, I'm literally talking about the energetic of it, not that it represents a man, just that it's strong and it's a doing action. And the other kind that you have is more of a sliding, gliding, flowing movement. And that one you could consider to be softer, more serpentine. It's more flowing like a river. You might consider it to be a feminine energy. So let's look at both of those, and we're going to work with this throughout this term, this course, and really begin to build on it. And we're going to work with these 2 types of movement with different movements. So for example, today, in a moment, we're gonna have a little shot of working with the slide of the hip with each of these kinds of movements. And then in a future session, we'll work with maybe a hip drop and work with each of those two types of movement. Hopefully that makes sense. If there's anything that I've said in that moment that didn't make sense to you, drop it in the comments for me, whether you're here live or you are on YouTube, and I'll be happy to help you with anything that's a little bit unclear. So for now, let's assume that you're good with that, and let's look at, first of all, that staccato one that I mentioned, the first one. So with that one, the movement is very obvious, it's very marked, you know, just in the way that a drum can't really be hidden within a piece of music. And why would you want it to be? So you could think about it that way, that this one is like the drum. So I want you just to take a moment, and you can do this actually on the spot. If you don't have a lot of space where you're dancing, you can still practice dancing with a traveling step, just literally taking it round in a circle, or maybe when you walk between rooms, you go and pop the kettle on. It's always a favorite. I like my herbal teas. All right, so you really feel that it's grounding, it's earthy, yeah? Boom, doom, 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 okay? So this is the first kind. Sometimes you might have this bob of your height. If it was a folkloric dance that you're practicing, it'd be like this, perhaps. And then the other kind that you have is that smooth serpentine flowing, almost gliding across any space. And for that, you're gonna almost slide your feet across the surface of the floor. So the previous one, you were really lifting the foot and placing it down. Lift the foot, place it down on the rhythm, usually on the beat. But here, it's much less obvious of a movement. It almost becomes one with the music itself. It's smooth. So in the next session, I'm going to chat to you about differences in the length of your step and differences in the speed of your step and the speed that you're traveling, and how those really affect the step itself. So we're working with that hip slide today. So we're going to get that slide going. And we're going to just have a little shot of working with those traveling steps. Now, what you'll find quite quickly into this journey is that certain movements of the hip, of the torso, whatever it might be, work better than others. They're just in style and in feel more suited to either the staccato step, 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 or the real slidey, smooth one. I'll let you decide which you think the slide of the hips works best with. So first of all, let's try. Shall we try? Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. So we're going to slide the hip out to the side. Step, slide, 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 step. Now, there is actually another time that you can slide. The timing can be changed with a hip slide so that you actually step on the same side that the hip is moving to. I'm just mentioning that. But what we're doing right now is basically the simplest version. It's the easiest to balance, and so we're working with that right now. But I do want to let you know that you could actually work with the hip coming out to the side and stepping on the same side. It's trickier to balance. It needs more core muscle strength and more control. So that's why we're not doing that one right now. But we're doing this one. So you're going to bring your hip out to the right, and you're going to step on the left. And then slide your hip to the left and step on the right. Again, so we're going to slide, step, slide, step. So we've got a nice faster piece of music here. Let's work with this, shall we? Four, three, two, and slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step. I'm exaggerating a little so you can really see the movement and feel it. You might want to exaggerate that first as well till you get used to that feeling. Woo! You want to try go back? Let's try. Slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step. Make sure your hip is in neutral. Slide, step, slide, step. Yeah, well done. Let's try that a little bit faster. 4, 3, 2, and slide, step, 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 slide. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! So you'll see why we did it nice and slow when we worked with that movement. So let's then try the same, but this time with... This time we're going to try with a smooth serpentine movement. Oh, it's beautiful. Are you ready? So here we go. Get your slide going. So this time we're going to bring the hip out to the side and slide that foot forward. Slide, 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 slide. Yes! Slide, slide, slide. Bring it back, slide. Wow. Okay, let's try again. If that is tricky, let's bring it back. Let's get a nice big run. If you have the space, you can turn it. If not, ready? Here we go. Bring the hip out to the side, slide forward. Step, slide, step. Slide, step, slide, step. A bit faster. Slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step, slide, step. And eventually it becomes one. Let's bring it back. Wow, well done. Grab yourself a little spot of hydration if you would like one, and then let's come into center. Woo! Let's practice a little bit of a basic shimmy. Wow. So you're bending through your knees, let the knee be the liver. The liver? No, well, you could. Not advisable, however. I'm sure all medical professionals would agree. But you can allow the knees to be the lever. That's what I tried to say. The lever for the hips. So the movement comes from the knees. The bigger the bend of the knees, the bigger the movement of the hips can be. Woohoo! Well done. Take it up, take it up. Wow, that was absolutely tremendous. In the next session, we're going to build from there, looking at traveling with another step on top. And I'm also going to show you another beginner's belly dance movement. It's possibly one you've never done before. It's one that feels amazing. It's so much fun. It's really light-hearted, but it can be very grounding and really good for your digestive system as well. Can you guess what it is? If you've done this with me before, can you guess what it is? If you're brand new, wow, welcome. It's so good to connect with you here. If you didn't hit subscribe already, feel free to find that button wherever it might be Push subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave us a comment. Let us know how you're enjoying the course so far. I'll see you next time. Bye!